the person of Kim Duber.
Thank you so much, Mr. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Thank you so much for being here. So happy to see all the guests and some old faces we haven't seen in a while. It's really nice to see everyone. As you all know, during the pandemic, the entire world was forced to pivot in a way, one way or another, from schedule changes to routines to stockpiling toilet paper. For some, they saw challenges within their relationships, and for others, they took that as an opportunity to grow closer. A lot of people were faced with loss, unfortunately. They were forced to deal with loss during everything else that was going on in the world. It was really a crazy time. I think these type of life events that sometimes force us to transmogrify can be seen as an opportunity to grow and to get out of our comfort zone. Looking back into what we all learned during the pandemic, I started to think about life in the grand scheme of things. I would like us to all to just think for a second today about our lives right now, right at this very moment. Ask yourself if it is time to pivot, whether it's in your personal or your professional career, in your beliefs, your values, your business strategy, your priorities, the industry that you work in, maybe your mind, your haircut, maybe where you live. A pivot is a fundamental change in your business strategy or your life strategy. Remember, pivots in life don't mean failure. They mean an opportunity, and sometimes it's daring to dream, to implement those crazy ideas that you never thought would happen, and even new beginnings. Remember, a drastic pivot may not be the change your life wants, but it could.
Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. I have the honor of presenting our first speaker. As part of his dynamic leadership path, Jorge Alba will be completing his L5 elective, prepared to speak professionally. He has prepared an 18-minute speech for us tonight, where he discusses what it takes to become a professional speaker in today's digital world. He will provide some strategies to start, establish, and grow a professional speaking career. Jorge Alba, over to you.
Good evening, Mrs. Toastmaster. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. So it's my pleasure to present to you on my speak on how to become a public speaker. Have you ever, one of you, think about becoming a public speaker? I guess by the change of hands, show me who have that idea at one time or another in your life. Is that a goal that you have? Is that a dream? Well, I can assure you, believe it or not, that anybody in this meeting, if you want, can become a public speaker. Unbelievable or not, public speakers many of them didn't know how to speak in front of a large crowd, or even in a small group like this one, until many of them joined Toastmasters. So that was what made the difference for them. So they all became public speakers by putting in the hard work and perfecting the art of public speaking. By getting the experience necessary, feel confident about public speaking, and practicing so they could present to small groups, mid-sized groups, and large groups locally and around the world. But tonight, if you allow me to share my screen, please, with you. I don't know if you can see my screen right now. Maybe not. Well, I'm going to jump on that one then because I don't want to waste your time. But I'm going to talk about how to start your public speaking career, how to book your first public speaking engagement, and how to make a career into public speaking. So number one, how do you start your speaking career? Breaking into professional speaking may seem like a daunting task. However, by following a key strategies that I'm going to give to you tonight, you are going to be able to start and sustain a successful public speaking career. First thing and the most important is to define your area of expertise. To do that, you have to ask yourself a few questions, like what are you good at? What do you like to talk about? What is your passion? What can you share in terms of experience and knowledge with the world? For example, if you are good at project management, you may want to start being a public speaker to share that knowledge of project management with your fellow Toastmasters and other people around the world. If you want to niche down your experience.
Hello, Kim.
Yes.
Yeah, Jorge seems to be having some connection issues. Is it possible to probably move to the second speaker while,
Okay, no problem.
while he sorts out the connection problem?
Sounds good. Thank you, Mr. President. So everyone, for speaker number 2, I'm excited about all the speakers today, but this one is especially special because it's her first time. And speaker number 2, it's gonna be Kristina. As many of you know, the past couple of days, the polling count in Houston was at its highest level it has ever been. Our speaker is suffering from bad allergies, which led to losing her voice at the beginning of this week. She's slowly recovering and will be completing her L1 icebreaker speech. As part of her presentation mastery path, we will be able to get to know one of our newest Toastmaster members in the next 4 to 6 minutes with her speech titled All About Sinclair. Please help me in welcoming Kristina Sinclair.
Thank you, Toastmaster, for your introduction. And hello to fellow Toastmasters for listening to my speech. What do Nicole Kidman, Jay-Z, Tiger Woods, and Sigmund Freud all have in common? They all suffer from glossophobia, known as the fear of public speaking. Crazy, right? I never would have thought the people that I named would have that fear, just like I do. I love entertaining and performing. However, I have the urge to avoid public speaking whenever possible. I get bad anxiety, just the thought of speaking. I joined Toastmasters to control and conquer my anxiety. While I was preparing this speech, I realized I love the idea of transformation, a process by which one element spontaneously changes into another, which reflects my passion in life. Being on stage, I am able to take various roles and transform into another person, from being the most lovable and charming character to the most manipulative, villainous character. Acting is a way for me to explore other ways of thinking. When I step into the circle, this concept of transformation led to my other passion in life, which is design. Designing is a way I'm able to create and construct various items, whether it's upcycling, jewelry, furniture, and buildings. I love the challenge of transformography to change the appearance of a form, trash into treasure. I love giving people a different way of looking at an object. With that idea of transformation, I was able to translate it to my everyday lifestyle. I got into bodybuilding. I was able to transform my body into something I never thought I could ever have. I only thought celebrities would have 6 packs. I was able to show off my hard work with the exercising and dieting and show it off on stage. Public speaking is a skill just like riding a bike or dancing or working out or playing the piano. Using patience, persistence, and practice, I will be able to overcome my fear. I will leave you with this quote, and which I try to live by. Don't let anxiety get the best of you. Let the fear make us better, and enjoy the experience and benefit from it. Thank you.
One, I believe that you're ready to give us your speech at this time.
You want me to start from the beginning or kind of where I was? I was about, I believe, like 2 minutes into the speech.
I believe that continuing from where you were would be perfect, and whoever's timing your speech can just continue from where you left off as well.
It was 3:53 to be exactly, if you want to start
Okay.
from. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Over to you.
All
Thank
right.
you, Jorge.
Thank you very much for understanding. I have technical difficulties here. So I was mentioning that the first and most important thing to start your public speaking career is that you need to define your area of expertise. You need to know what you are good at, what is your passion, what you like to talk about. I was mentioning an example that if you are a project manager and you love project management, you may want to start your public speaking career talking about project management. Now, you can narrow down the topic even more. Like, for example, if you enjoy doing projects control, you may want to focus your speeches on projects control. For example, in doing improvements on construction projects and how to control the budget on construction projects. But you can try different things. And then if it ends up being too narrow, you can expand your horizons if you need to. Now, once you define what you want to talk about, then you have to identify your audience. So once you know what is your topic, you can find out who you want to talk that, who may need that knowledge, who is interested in that type of knowledge. What is the age group that you want to target? The professions. Maybe you want to target people in the oil and gas industry, or people in the infrastructure industry, or people in different areas that you are interested. So that also helps you, once you target your audience, to look for that people, to identify where do you have to go looking for that people. Number 3, once you know your topic and you have identified your audience, you have to gain public skills. You have to, it's important to know what to say, but it's equally important to know how to say. So what do I propose to you is that you learn from the experts. Toastmaster couldn't be a better place to learn from the experts. We have very accomplished speakers in this group that you can learn from. And if you don't think that we are good enough for your career, you can get into YouTube. There are so many public speakers in YouTube that you can learn from, different style, different way of presentation. You can get into TEDx speakers and find different ways, different topics, different passions that you can learn from. So that is something I strongly recommend you, that listen to the experts, learn from the experts. Second, you may consider getting a mentor. And there is no better place to get a mentor into public speaking than Toastmasters. There are a variety of experts in this group, in other groups within Toastmasters that you can learn from, that I strongly recommend you get a mentor and start learning from the experts. Now, you can also take a public course or a course in public speaking, and you can go to those classes and improve your skills even better. So there are many ways that you can do it, but definitely you have to take action. You have to grow your career. You have to grow into becoming a better public speaker. However you decide to do it, follow my advice, please. 4, learn the art of speech writing. So it's very important to become a good speaker, to get a good speech that you prepare that is well written. 3 important things. You have to learn to write good introductions. An introduction is the best way to gain the attention of your public. So you can do it different ways. You can thank the people that prepared or organized the event. You can quote a well-known person. You can start with a question the way I started today, or something else that fits better the topic and the audience that you are directing it to. Second, the body of your speech. It has to be clear, well organized, and it has to follow a sequence, especially if you are talking to people that are not experts in the topic you are using, because otherwise you may confuse them. And finally, when you finish with the body of your speech, you have to finish your speech with a bang. Basically, you have to select a way that people can take home and always remember what you talk about. It could be summarize your presentation, it could include a call to action, or it can make sure that you bring the people you are talking to something that they will remember that speech as a memorable speech. Or you can use all three of them, whatever you think that fits better that audience. Now, very important is also to create a presence online. These days of internet, most people that listen to you on a presentation, either on TEDx, on Toastmaster, or a live presentation, as soon as they get home, they are going to get into the internet, or even right there where they are looking at you, they get into their phone and they immediately will start looking to your website. You have to have a professionally created website that you can put the content that people can realize this person is an expert. This person knows what he's talking about. Look at the content that they have. Look at the project they have done. Look at the experience they have. You have to produce high quality content that people can sway into deciding to work with you and to hire you to be a public speaker. A very professional created blog is very important. To have a very strong presence in Facebook, in YouTube, in LinkedIn ID. So people will get to know you. That is very important these days of the internet. Now, once you have started your career, how do you book your first public speaking engagement? So booking your first speaking engagement may look like a difficult task. However, once you do it the first time, the second time, you have a lot of experience under your belt, and it will be easier and easier every time after that. So work hard and work following these principles. First of all, avoid doing cold calling. Most people is not going to hire you if you call them out of the blue. They don't know you. You are not a well-known expert. So why they are going to hire you? Plus, additionally to that, if you have to talk in front of people that you never met, that you don't even know the way of working, the way of living, it's going to be difficult. You are going to be nervous. You don't know what to say. They don't know how to address you either. So stay away from that. It's probably more important that you do networking. If you can actually attend networking events, you are going to meet a lot of people, and you are going to start connecting with people that you are going to realize, yes, I can work with these people, and that people can say, yes, I like this person. I work with this person. So I'm going to hire him for my next speaking event. So do a lot of networking. Start connecting with people. Start telling people, even the elevator pitch, that you are a public speaker and that you are starting your career as a public speaker, so people can relate to you. Tell your friends, your family, your coworkers, so people can speak to others. Hey, we need a public speaker to talk about project managing in our next company. But oh, I know the good guy. Benet is the perfect guy for that. Let me call him. I know that person. So that is the best way to engage those functions. Now, start with local events. Very few people will start at the nationwide arenas with 10,000 people looking at your speeches. No, most people start Toastmasters, talking in the 5 people at your company. These very local events give you the experience that you need to start growing and learning and getting better and better and better. So start small, but always look for growth. Now, mentioned already, but I'm going to mention it again. Attend networking events. I mentioned that you already have identified the group of people that you want to engage, your future clients. So find out where they meet. Find out if they go to social functions. Find out if they go to professional functions. And address those. Go into Google and Google it and find out, okay, yeah, this local event is going on in Sugarland. There is this Toastmaster. I need to attend that event because I want to address that people. And have realistic expectations. At the beginning, it's not going to be easy. I'm not going to tell you this will be easy and in 2 months, and Anthony can testify to that, in 2 months you won't be giving speeches to 100 people. But if you start slow and you work hard and you keep in your mind that maybe the first 2, the first 5 speeches you are going to have to give them for free. but you are learning, you are building the blocks of your career. So keep working hard in that direction. So how to make it as a career as a public speaker? Well, you have to make money. So the first thing is you have to learn how to negotiate your fees. How do you do that? You don't even know the audience. How do you know how much are they willing to pay for you? So again, start researching, start asking people, start asking your mentor. If I were me, I will go to Anthony, say, Anthony, how do you negotiate your fees for public speaking? And learn from the people that already have done it. Second, always use what is called the bracketing level of negotiation. Basically, you go and ask for 10 to 30% more of what you expect to make, so you can negotiate. People usually have a range of what they are willing to pay, but they are also trying to pay the least amount possible. And obviously, you are trying to make the most money out of every function. So it's a negotiation. It's like everything else. You have to practice until you get good at that. Now, never stop promoting yourself. It's very important that always you are marketing yourself and your skills. Again, I mentioned that you have to have a professionally created website that is always updated. And every time you engage other people, you have to make them know what are your skills, what are you good at, what you can talk to. Now, it's important that when you take the stage and you are doing a presentation, you have to sell your skills and everything that you have to give other people. If you have a book like Anthony does, you have to make sure that you bring it up during your presentation. I know Anthony is good at that because I've seen it many times. If you have a tool that you develop, an internet tool or something, bring that tool, show it to the people, show how it can help them in their career. So there are many ways that you can always sell yourself from the stage, but don't come across that your only interest is to sell. You are not a salesperson. You are out there actually to help others. And find ways to monetize your speech after the event. So find ways that people can reach out to you and find if you have additional training, maybe some coursework that you can sell, some books, some workshops, some one-to-one training, some mentoring that you can give to the people. So find ways that you can help others after, so you can bring some profit after the speech. And then the most important one, I mentioned growth. You have to continue polishing your skills. You have to continue growing every day. There is nobody that can say, I know everything about this topic. There is nothing else to learn. I am the best speaker in the world. Nobody can be better than me. No, there is always room for growth and improvement. So think with that mind, continuous growing, continuous education, learn from the expert, learn from other people out there. So remember, define what are your expertise. Identify your target audience. Polish your skills every single day. Learn to be a good speech writer or a good writer. Maybe take a class on a speech writer. Talk to some people that have written books. Convince them to be your mentor. Have a good presence online that comes hands in hands with being a good speech writer. Now, once you are ready for that first speech, remember, avoid cold calling, actually networking with the people you want to work for. Have a realistic expectation. And learn to negotiate your fees. Never stop promoting yourself. Master the art of selling from the stage and find when to monetize after the speech. And more important, remember, continuous improvement. So I'm going to leave you with a call of actions tonight. Those are the following. In conclusion, you have to set up a plan if you want to become a public speaker. Number one. Number two, stick to your plan. And number three, and more important, it's not going to be easy. Be ready to put a lot of hard work and a big effort. But believe me, if you become a public speaker, no matter how much time and effort you put into that, you are going to feel very proud of yourself, of your accomplishment, and more important, of how you are going to help many other people out there. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for your attention. And it was really an honor to present for you tonight.
Great job, Jorge. Thank you so much for the wonderful insight and useful and practical steps into how one can just break into being a public speaker and get paid to do it. Now is the time for our final speaker for this evening. Akin has been with the Toastmasters since the fall of 2016, and he has completed level 5 of the Dynamic Leadership, Presentation Mastery, and the Strategic Relationships Paths in the Pathways program. He is currently co-chair of District 56 2022 Spring Conference. Tonight, Akin will be giving his final level 2 speech in the Visionary Communication Path titled Mentoring Through Speechcraft Coordination. Please help me in welcoming Akin. Akin, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Mr. Timer, before you begin timing me, please hold on. You are the timer, Jorge, and who is my evaluator? Who is going to evaluate my speech?
Ukpai Carlo will be doing that.
Thank you, Mr. President. All right, once again, thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Before I get going here, I'm going to need to share my screen, if that's okay.
You let me know when to start the time.
Okay, I will let you know. Let me see if I can share the screen. Okay, I can see the timer. I don't need to see the evaluator. So, Mr. Timer, you may begin. Good evening, once again. If I ask you all tonight, how many of you have heard about speechcraft before? By show of hand, is there anyone here? Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so there are some people that have heard about speechcraft before. Tonight, I will be talking to you about my speechcraft journey. Speechcraft is actually a distinguished Toastmaster requirement within the Toastmasters International. And I got into this because I find it to be one of the options that I could take in my journey into becoming a distinguished Toastmaster. And again, it aligns with my purpose in life to bring people together and help them grow. What is mentoring? Mentoring, in my word, essentially entails supporting a protege or a mentee, as some of us will say, as they take personal responsibility for working towards the accomplishment of broader goals over a sustained period. There is support, there is personal responsibility, there is work, and there is sustained period. All these are required for a successful speechcraft program. With that said, what is speechcraft? I'm here tonight to ask you the question. Are you planning to attend a job interview? Or do you have an upcoming presentation that is so important to you? Or maybe you're going to be a wedding toast or anything in that realm. Whatever is it that you want to do, you may be afraid, you may be feeling a little bit jittery, but I'm here to tell you tonight, perhaps being a speechcrafter could be one of the paths into you overcoming the fear. Speechcraft is a condensed version of Toastmaster members' experience because everything that we do in a typical Toastmaster environment, we do during the speechcraft program. It allows participants that we call speechcrafters to rise above and be the best communicator they can be. It boosts confidence. It ramps people up to speaking their way to extraordinary. Very importantly, it is an excellent tool for gaining new members. And again, this program is available in 4, 6, 8, and so programs, and for a maximum of 5 people. What is the scope of a typical speechcraft program? 1, you have topics like choosing a topic to speak on. How do you choose it? Preparing to speak or present, giving and receiving feedback, knowing your purpose as a speaker, understanding body language, how to evaluate a speech, understanding vocal variety, and very importantly, choosing powerful words. These are some of the key themes of a complete speechcraft program. Why is speechcrafting being linked to mentoring? It's actually a tool in my world because I found out that I had a number of mentees that I was trying to encourage, try to inspire to speak, deliver a speech, sign off in pathways. And I realized that they hesitated. So what I did was one of my clubs, the Toastmasters Club in downtown Houston, I decided to organize a program called Speechcraft. And I called it Speechcrafting the Shania way. The Speechcraft coordinator, who I was on that program, would normally plan the event. I signed for, paid the fee, recruit members, and then set dates. I also was responsible for developing the agenda. I also did allow all my speech crafters to do most of the talking because it's about them, not about me. It's just like mentoring. And then myself with my appointed guide led the education moments, and we were focused on offering specific feedback to each of the speech crafters. And then of course, I was the event's CIO. And CIO, this is not Chief Information Officer, but rather Chief Inspiration Officer. I don't motivate people, I inspire them. And that was my role within the context of that program. And here are 4 recipes in the course of my translating speech crafting into becoming a tool that I could use to actually mentor people. It's very important to create an opportunity for people to communicate, which means every speech crafter during each meeting had to speak and they had to evaluate. And we did it over an 8-week period. So every week for 8 weeks, non-members, existing members that joined, they had to speak, they had to evaluate. It's also an opportunity for me to allow people to not just learn how to speak, but to speak in a manner that they connect. So it's very important. Of course, they had the opportunity to lead as well because they led sessions, they facilitated small groups, and that actually helped them a lot. And most importantly, having fun is key when you organize a speech prep program. In closing, do we want to grow our club? Do we want to grow ourselves? I'm here to tell you tonight, distinguished Toastmasters, guests, ladies and gentlemen, don't limit your challenges. Instead, challenge your limits. I'm encouraging you here, please do yourself a favor. Encourage yourself. Coordinate a speechcraft session today. Thank you. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Akin, for that very relevant speech to our club as we try to increase membership. Well done, well done. Well, everyone, this is a time for you to, we're going to move over to our table topic session. Our guest, Monique Lampkin, has participated and served diligently in Toastmasters since 2003. Currently, she's working towards completing her pathway goals in order to earn and receive her DTM status. Monique has competed and won area and division evaluation and speech contests in the past. She is also an ambassador for Toastmasters. Recently, she completed her tenure as an area M30 director, where she was responsible for oversight to 5 awesome clubs. She is a member of Liberated in Sugarland and what she calls the best club in the galaxy. Monique tries to support all fellow Toastmasters and tries to encourage everyone to maximize all that Toastmasters has to offer and to also enjoy the journey through active participation. Mrs. Toastmaster, Table Topics Master, over to you.
Thank you, Kim, so much. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters again and fellow project managers. I'm not going to go over what table topics consist of. I believe most of us are familiar with table topics for the sake of time. One thing I will do is open up the floor. So can I get 2 volunteers this evening to participate in table topics? So my first person, who will that be? Let me see who's going to be the first person. Any volunteers? Without knowing the question. I need you to transmogrify
Akin is volunteering.
Who's going to volunteer?
Okay.
Akin did.
Excellent, thank you. First question, project manager, and this is specifically related to projects on tonight. Project manager, Akin, how do you prioritize tasks in a project? And I'll repeat it. Project manager, Akin, and fellow Toastmaster, how do you prioritize tasks in a project?
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. How do I prioritize tasks on a project? Number one, let me take you into the world of projects. A project should have a scope. A project should have a risk register. A project should have a schedule. A project should have cost estimate. And a project should have how the stakeholders will be managed, what the communication plan is going to look like, and how expectations will be met overall. How do I do that? In terms of prioritizing tasks, I use risk assessment. I look at a list of activities that I've got, and then I look at them one after the other. What are the risks associated with each of the activities? The most risky activity, I'm gonna focus on it, because prioritizing that does not mean I do it first, but I'm gonna make a zero in on it. And what does that mean? I will make sure that that risk has a risk owner. That risk, as we define it very clearly, and we know how we're going to mitigate it. And if it's not something that we will actually mitigate directly, maybe we're just going to pay money for somebody else to carry the risk. We'll do that. But in terms of prioritizing my task on a project, I use risk assessment, understanding the risks and making sure that we assign the right owners to the risk. That is one recipe for success overall on any project. Back to you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you for the free professional consulting you just gave us. Let's take a minute in the interim and give him some feedback. Great response. I learned a lot in a few minutes. Great job. Let's send him some shouts of applause in the interim period. And I hope I'm following the protocol for this club as far as giving comments. So please forgive me if you all don't quite do it this way, but he responded accordingly. Next question. Question for a fellow project manager, Toastmaster. My second question, can we get a volunteer? Floor is open. I need to know who's going to be that second volunteer.
What about somebody new to the club?
I'm very open to that.
Let me volunteer Michael Ogbemudia.
Excellent.
I'm volunteering him. Sorry, you all know that I do that all the time. So he's not the first one for me to do that. Over to you, Madam Table Topics.
Thank you. And I'm also mentoring Michael behind the scenes. So I stand in agreement with you putting him out there. Fellow Toastmaster, new member, thank you for taking the challenge as a project manager. Project manager Michael, tell us about a time something went wrong in a project you were managing. I'll repeat it. Project manager, fellow Toastmaster Michael, tell us about a time something went wrong in a project you were managing.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. The project I was managing at the time, I would use my experience at my place of work. There was a time we having a deadline on that, we're going out to sea. So we have a time management. We have a specific time for us to get this equipment on board, get it on, fix it before we can leave. However, in the process of fixing it, we find that there's what we call PMS. We do plant maintenance system. We find that equipment has not been, maintenance has not been performed on that particular equipment in a very long time. However, it was supposed to be outside activities that was supposed to take care of it. Here I am waiting, standing, looking to see how I'm going to go out.
Evaluator is going to introduce the team of speech evaluators. Over to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Well, thank you, Madam Toastmasters. As Anthony Alley likes to say, we're now to the third part of that pie. We have the presentations, impromptu speaking, and now we're part of the evaluation that we are now entering. So I would like to introduce our first evaluator to be Anthony Alley. Is that right? Yes. Thank you, Anthony.
Thank you very much, Mr. General Evaluator. Jorge, thank you for this incredible gift of your speech. You picked a topic that grabbed my attention out of my chair. I was ready to say, what is he going to teach? I'm ready to learn. I'm so excited that he's talking on a subject that I would like to learn more about. And I was so excited to find how many other people were excited about this. The minute you asked that question, everyone was like, yes, me, I want to know. Fantastic start to your speech. With this, I will say the framework for my speech evaluation today will be surprisingly content, delivery, and connection. Regarding content, as I said, you picked an outstanding topic. You had a fantastic structure. Gave us 3 specific areas you're going to focus on. You drilled into each one. You gave a great summary at the end, bringing everyone into the topic. You have very practical, hands-on tips. Everyone here, raise your hand if you got a lot of great tips from Jorge's speech. Yes, double hands on my part. Thank you. Great job. Really reminded me of, I was thinking, where did Jorge learn this? I'm so excited for what he was sharing. To improve that, have some visuals, a handout, some kind of options for everyone to be able to engage in. Maybe, just as an example, when you talk about having a great speaking website, present on the chat. I just put it on there. Here's an example of a speaker's website. Second, delivery. You have good volume. Body language. Oh, your body language. I absolutely love it. That was where you stand out a lot. Your hand gestures, you're speaking with your whole body all the time. You're constantly emphasizing, do you know, you not only speak with your voice, but you're also conveying visually everything you're giving. Right here, you've got video for a purpose. Use it. And Jorge, you're using it fantastically. You have specific pauses. You were drawing me in regularly with the way that you were bringing me in, that I felt I was being transmogrified with your speech. To improve, reboot your computer before joining an online event. That way you won't have this struggle that you had. And make sure that the Toastmaster has given you the share so that you can share those great slides that I'm sure you had ready for us. Finally, connection. You have a great topic. This draws everyone in. I've never actually thought about sharing all the years of my humble struggles and experience in this area with the group. And when you said it, I was almost like, whoa, great idea, Jorge. Thank you. Maybe I should design the next 12 speeches for Toastmasters along this line. I don't know, just a thought that popped in my head. From the intro, you had an engaging question, bringing people in, and you had specific call to action. With that, I would say that you had a great follow-up option to help improve, and that would be share an example of a book or a speaker that you like and ask for referrals. Jorge, you just gave a great speech. Why don't you ask from everybody here saying, can you refer me to an event that you have going on? I can tell you that warm referrals have helped me the most to be able to land those engagements that I like. And every time a Toastmaster or an audience member gives me that warm referral, it is powerful. That's what you were doing tonight. I would say it would be great for you to share that and have a follow-up content with everyone, saying, everyone, come on, you can jump on and make sure that here's my call to action, here's something valuable, and you can refer me. Here's my referral page for you to refer me. With that, fantastic job, hit it out of the park. Thank you very much, Jorge.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Anthony, for that very energetic evaluation. That was fantastic. We have a second evaluator. That would be Carol. That would going to give us our next evaluation of our second speaker. Carol, you have yourself on mute.
There we go. Kristina, I enjoyed your speech very much. You had it very well organized. You started with a good introduction, and your list of people who suffered from glossophobia grabbed us in right away. You listed the people that they were very disparate list of people that had suffered from glossophobia, and everybody was trying to wonder, what are all those people there? They don't have any connection, but it was the glossophobia. Also, I want to applaud you for stepping outside of your place in the agenda when we had a little bit of a glitch there. That's wonderful. That just, you brought right in and just stepped right in and stepped up. You explained how you loved assuming roles on stage, but still were anxious about speaking in public. That seems kind of like a paradox, but you shared how this led you to designing things and transmogrifying things and creating things, making trash out of treasure. Wonderful. That's a wonderful part of, for your icebreaker. I also noticed that you used no filler words. So you've already a leg up there in your Toastmaster journey. In longer speeches, you might use gestures and move a little bit more, take full advantage of the entire screen that you have there. Of course, longer speeches would enable you to stand up and move about and use hand gestures. But in this one, I think you did very, very well with it. You can put your acting skills to work in speeches that follow on. I would like to challenge you to keep following your path with vigor. You stepped up to do your first speech, and don't let this momentum go to waste. So keep moving forward on it. Push yourself to keep doing it, because practice makes perfect. The more you do it, the better you will get. I think Jorge indicated that in his speech, and you took a little tip from Jorge, even though he hadn't given it yet, which is end with a bang. I thoroughly enjoyed your ending, which said, do not let anxiety get the best of you. Take advantage of it and learn from it. That was really a very good ending for your speech. So you did the things that Jorge was talking about already. So while you may be concerned about speaking in public, as everybody is when they first start here, you already have a lot of these skills. You can just continue to move on with them. Your vocal volume was good. Your eye contact was good. Your tone and speed were well done. They were used well as tools. As I said, your physical gestures, you can improve, not necessarily improve on that. You don't have to just do gestures for the sake of gestures. Do them when they are meaningful in the context of your speech. Your audience awareness, I think you brought us in very, very well and held us there during the entire speech. Yeah, and you did appear comfortable. There was no noticeable anxiety in your presentation. And you did engage the audience with interesting and well-constructed content. So I thank you very much for this. I would say a very successful icebreaker, and I will send you the written evaluation a little bit later on. Thank you, probably tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, fantastic, Carol. So thank you so much for that evaluation. We have one more evaluator to go. Going to evaluate our third speaker, Akin. I believe that's Ukpai, if I heard that correctly. So Ukpai, maybe you could let us know your evaluation.
Thank you so much, Mr. General Evaluator. Akin, it is my pleasure to evaluate you tonight. In order to evaluate you, I'll be looking at two ways: what you did well and any area of improvement. First of all, your starting by asking questions was a way of drawing the attention of the audience. And I think that was a very good thing to do. It made us to be able to connect with you. And also the speech title, for every one of us that are Toastmasters, it's a road that we all will pass one day in the stage, in the growth we are in our journey of Toastmaster. So it was a good topic that brings connection to every one of us. So that, I think, was a very good thing you did. Your objective was very clear while you were making the presentation. It was to help each and every one of us and also to create the awareness. It did not only stop at that, you also, in your call for action, let us know that it could be also a way of increasing the club membership. So I think that is very vital. And at this time, I think it couldn't have been a better time than now. So that you did very well. I also noticed that sometimes when we are speaking, people tend to assume some terminology, but you didn't make any assumption. You went ahead to define what you meant by every keyword. Before, if you didn't make the explanation, I would have walked away here. We needed a chief information officer. But thank you for taking time to explain terms and terminology. I think that was very good. And finally, your closing was good because there's no way you could do all this good presentation without a call for action. I think your call for action made your presentation opening, body, and closing to be a great one. So I give it up to you. Is there anything to improve? You are someone that I've seen that you are a master of slide, master of presentation, and that's very good. But tonight, a little bit changed. It was a little bit wordy, a little bit crowded. So if next time you can go back to those your usual few words, but hit the road with the meaning and with the things you want to say. Other than that, it was a great presentation.
Mr. General Evaluator, I believe you're going to evaluate the meeting first and then return the control to me.
All right, thank you very much,
Thank you.
Madam Toastmaster. So before the meeting, I found that the discussion was very engaging and it really opened it up for opportunities to network between the folks that were on the call. When I entered the meeting, it was nice to see that the room was filled and that the conversations were already underway. However, I would like to have seen that as guests were entering the room, that we could have welcomed everyone that comes in. Kind of like whenever you go into CBS, you walk in through the door, someone says, "Hi, how are you doing?" So I think that's something that maybe we could improve upon. Ukpai really did a great job of starting on time and provided a wonderful presidential opening that set the tone of the meeting. I found it very inspiring. It was a testament to the group's relationships that members can assist as necessary, as Anthony did. And really, this is a recurring theme I find in this group at Southwest Toastmasters, Southwest Project Management Toastmasters, where Anthony even reminded the president to start the recording of the meeting to ensure that we could record it and everyone could then view it later. Ukpai did a great job of introducing the guests to the meeting. However, I think a quick blurb to describe the Toastmaster process to new guests would have been beneficial to new guests so they know what to expect in the meeting. I'm not sure if that happened. I didn't pick up on it if it did. And the Toastmaster did a really great job of, again, setting the theme of the meeting, pivoting and citing such great recent examples of how many of us could relate to exemplify the meeting theme, COVID and the loss and how we all needed to pivot in these times to basically transmogrify the current events to fit our lifestyles. And Kristina, woohoo, stage performer that gets anxiety when public speaking. It almost seems like an oxymoron, but it's wonderful to see that Toastmasters can help even in that scenario. And I'm so glad that you joined our team and looking for your transmogrification to your future state of a confident public speaker. Finally, it was great that we have such a team mentality here, and it really was exemplified and permeates throughout the group as everyone's being very helpful, giving tips on how to run an effective meeting, volunteering for roles as needed. And Ukpai, you really showed that leadership when you made the decision to move us forward when we had those technical difficulties and we didn't get stagnant waiting around. We were able to continue to move forward. So thank you for that.